Hello again, everyone. Ken from Whittling Woods, back again on a nice snowy day here in the Northeast. As you could see from the little video clip I had there, we had a nice little snowfall. Perfect for the winter solstice. The day I'm carving this is the winter solstice, and in honor of the winter solstice and the little snow we have, we're going to do a Scandinavian Tomte. It's a little Tomte gnome, and they're little characters. Basically, it's going to be a big hat and a beard and a nose. A nose, and the little guy will probably be about that big in there, and the rest will be kind of hat. They're fun little whittles to do, and I'm going to do it in this piece of, I'm going to try. This is a piece of our Christmas tree from 2023. It's a piece of Frasier Fir I cut out, so I figured that's appropriate wood to be carving in, although it's probably not the best carving wood, but we'll have fun with it nonetheless. And just so you can all see, the piece itself is about 9 inches. About 9 inches long, and I think it's about 1.25 inches square. So yeah, but just about 1.25 inches square. So it'll be a fun little character. We'll probably most of the guy will be in the hat, and everything else will probably be in the first 6.5 inches or so. So it's going to be really just a pretty straightforward whittle. All this area in here is going to be his little hat with a little curve on the top over there. So I'll have a picture, over here, so you can see what he looks like. But I'm going to get my, just so you know too, we're going to be using probably maybe 2 knives. This was a knife that one of my viewers, Mark, made for me. We're going to use his knife to do probably a good portion of the whittle. It's a good knife for this kind of whittle. And then maybe if we need a little detail, we'll use the North Bay Forge knife here. But use whatever whittling knife if you want to follow along. It doesn't really matter. None of the materials. You can use basswood. You can use anything you want to do something like this. So we're going to get everything set up, and I will be right back. Okay, since this is a pretty big piece, we're going to struggle to keep the whole piece in the frame here, but you'll see. I'll try to keep the portion that I'm carving, hopefully somewhere in the middle here. But our first task here is just to kind of start taking down. We can go around the edges here, just kind of do some bulk removal. This is very, very knotty wood, as you can see. There's tons of knots in it. So again, it's not the best wood to whittle, but I enjoy using different types of wood for my whittling projects, and I encourage you to do the same. Give it a shot. These are going to be not highly detailed type figures. This type of wood might work good for that. All I'm doing now is I'm going to work my way down the piece here, and I'm just doing bulk removal. And as I mentioned in some of my videos, when you see me doing this, I have a secure grip on the knife, and I'm cutting like that. I'm not cutting straight. I'm cutting like that along the knife. It makes it a much more effective way to cut. And for bulk removal, this type of thing, as long as you have everything in front of you cleared out, is a effective way of whittling down pretty quickly. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. Here we're going to just plow through some of this wood and get it to a little bit of a tapered end over there. So that's all I'm going to do. I won't make you sit through all that, and we'll move this video along here. I'm sure during the holiday season a lot of people have probably better things to do than sit around and watch me whittle, but I appreciate the fact that you are watching me. So anyway, let me continue to taper that down, and I'll be right back. Okay, you can kind of see I'm just powering my way through this type of wood. And if you're going to use wood like this with all these knots, you're going to want a sturdy knife. The knife Mark maybe is very sturdy. It's a strong, good knife in that regard. So it can do this kind of whittle. If you're using a regular whittling knife that you buy that's geared towards basswood, probably not you don't want to use it on this type of wood, because you're really plowing through these knots in here, and you have to have a knife that's strong. And that's why I appreciate the fact that Mark made this one for me, because it's perfect for this type of job here. Because you can see, getting through these knots, you gotta kind of power through them. But these are real easy little to do. Anybody could do them. You can see we came down, let's measure it here. We came down, like I said, about probably about 6.5, almost 7 inches. So most of the hat's going to be, most of the figure is going to be a real long hat. And I'm trying to leave a little wood up at the top because I'm figuring I'm probably gonna want to make a little curve in the end. You know, you can see there's all different. These Tomte gnomes are, you know, they come in different styles, but I like the ones with the real long hat. And he's not going to have any. Maybe have a couple little boots sticking out. We'll see, but it's going to be mostly just his hat and hair. That's really it, and a nose. We'll try to whittle a little nose in there. I'm trying to figure out which side is best for that. Probably this side, maybe, but we'll see. We'll see what works. This is kind of, I would call this like a rustic carving, I guess, rustic whittle. When you're dealing with this kind of wood, since you're making such long cuts, you're going to be going with and against the grain. So, you know, keep that in mind. Sometimes it's going to tear out a bit, and but, you know, since you're whittling most of it back, don't worry about it. So you can kind of see here. There we are. That's what I said. These are fun little ones to do. Anyone can do them. And for this time of year, like I said, we had a nice little snow, and we're actually expecting maybe a little bit more as well, which is great for cold weather people like myself. If you don't like cold weather, no, it's probably not the best. You're probably not going to like it because it's pretty cold. It's only supposed to be in the teens tomorrow. So to have snow right around the Christmas season is always fun, I think. It's also another special day. This is my anniversary. My wife and I have been together for 39 years. So, as one of my coworkers said, she's an amazing woman to have put up with you for 30 years. So, I agree. But anyway, here you go. We're going to be taking this back quite a bit more, but just so you can kind of see where we're at here. And again, I'm going to leave a little bit of wood over here because I want to kind of hook it around a bit. So I start that process just to kind of remind myself. Sometimes, you know, when you're doing these things, you get kind of real involved with doing the whittle, and you forget that you need to leave a little bit of wood on the top over there. But I'm gonna put a little notch in here, I think, just to kind of remind myself that right about here or so it's going to hook over. So there you go. Have fun with these kind of whittles if you're going to do something like this. Use found wood. This would be perfect in a you know, maybe a nice sized branch or something like that too. You can do these in, probably slightly better than using Frasier Fir, which isn't probably the best whittling wood, but there you go. You can kind of see where we're at here. And again, I think I'm going to make the face right in this area over here. So let's kind of mark that. Let's start thinking about where our hat's going to bottom out. And I think you know, you can consider doing the nose on the edge too. You can do the figure like that. That might be different. That might be worthwhile considering. If you think about it, maybe we'll just give him hair then. You know what? Let's try that. Let's do it on one of the ends here. Probably here it looks good too. You know, either way, we'll see. I kind of, like I said, I'm making this up as I go here. So I think that's how I'm gonna approach it. I might put it right around here so I can have the curve. I might put his nose on this side right around here somewhere, so I can have the hat curve You can see that if I do it on this and the curve is facing the same way as the nose, I would like to have it in a different plane. So maybe I'll do it over here. So I'm going to mark probably approximately here. And this is probably about 7 inches down. The whole piece again was about 9 inches, and we're probably about 7 inches down here. So I'm going to put a little notch right in there and just kind of cut right up to that, because that's going to be the start, I think, of the hat over here. Or the start of the hat, the bottom of the hat. So we can kind of start taking that around. I got a big knot right over here, so I don't know how well that's going to work. But again, these are fun little whittles. They're rustic, you know, they're not highly detailed. That's why I think anybody could really capture this type of whittle. It's not overly hard to do. And you can't, you know, one of these whittles where you really can't mess it up, to be honest with you. We're not going to, there's no real detail in it. It's just a hat and hair and a kind of a round nose. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, that knot right there. But we'll work our way through it. Kind of see where we're at here. So let's consider right about, maybe we'll put the bottom of his nose somewhere right about here, because this whole area we're going to kind of leave for the nose, I think. So I'm going to kind of cut right up to that, so I remember to leave some nose here. Kind of see how we're moving along. And I'm just going to work my way sort of around here, creating a bit of a round nose. So I'm just going to work it up into where the hat is. Over here. The same thing on this side here. I'm just going to kind of come up and around for right now and remove some of the wood. So you kind of see here. This wood is definitely challenging, no doubt about it. Originally, we were just going to use a piece of basswood, but I happened to, when I was honing up my knives prior to starting it, I had this piece sitting there right by where my honing stuff was. And I said, you know what, I'm going to try it on. I just kind of, to me, it seemed like more appropriate wood to whittle this type of little fantasy character in. But again, not the best wood for that, for whittling in general. What I'm doing here is just kind of coming up, because I want to sort of make their noses are kind of round if you see them. So I'm going to try to start creating a bit of a, you know, a bit of a ball. He's going to have a big knot on one side of his nose. You can kind of see how we're working this around now. We're leaving a little bit of a ball for his nose, that's all. Just working it around there. I'm deepening the sides here so I can you know, make the you know, make the nose look round-ish. So I'm kind of coming here on the sides, and I think if you use other types of wood, you wouldn't have to kind of nibble away at it like I'm doing here. But in case you're so inclined to whittle a part of an old Christmas tree, I don't know how many people would, but why not? I hope everybody's enjoying the holiday season. Hopefully you've got all your shopping done. I think that's, for the time being, that's looking okay as far as I'm concerned. What I want to do is just bring back the hat a little bit more. It's because I want to sort of establish, you know, the dimensions of the bottom of the hat here. I want to leave a little bit, I'm going to put a little bit of a like a furry part on the bottom, I guess it would be. Maybe, you know, I think that looks good. So what I want to do here is establish that. So I'm going to kind of come up just a little ways, right about in there. And that's just so, again, I'm marking these to remind myself that, you know, this is where I'm coming down to. You can kind of see. And then I'll carry it around, so it'll be a, you know, a little furry brim or base of the hat. There's probably a name for that part of the hat, a little hat like this, but I don't know. And you just kind of come around, make that cut. And then you can kind of see here how we are starting that. You know, like I always say, work roughly at first, and then start refining details. Don't worry about, you know, getting everything perfect, because sometimes you're whittling along and you hit something that forces you to change the whittle. I want to sort of round out the figure here, so I'm going to kind of come around here and start just rounding it out a bit. So I'm going to, you know, kind of do like we did with the hat, just come down here and start tapering the sides around just a bit. Moving some of the rough saw marks. I don't remember if I used an axe or I think I might have used an axe to plane this one down, actually. I have a Swedish carving axe that I used to use for larger wood pieces, and it's a great tool. I mean, it's amazing how sharp it is and how well it carves. And it's a nice big axe, and they make them in Sweden, and it wasn't cheap. I bought it a number of years ago, but boy oh boy, it's a pleasure to use. I used to take a piece of logs and do a couple things with them. Do spoon carvings with them. So you take a maybe piece of birch or so, and you rough it out with the axe, and then you refine it with a knife. Traditionally, that's the way it was always done. And boy, I tell you, those when I used to use just a domestic type axe that I purchased when I first started doing it, and I was reluctant to spend the money on the Swedish axe, but after using it, you know why. It's worth every penny. And also, not just spoons, but I used to do like little figures and with them, but they were big. They were like a piece of log or something. So you use a stump and you go at it. It's a fun thing to do. You just got to be very cognizant, like with any sharp instrument, where your fingers are. Okay, I'm going to give you kind of a look-see here of where we're at, and you can pretty much see here. That's. I don't want to drag this out too much because you know it should be just a fun little whittle. But you can kind of see we're kind of got the rough out done over here. I'm going to take a little bit more off the top, and we'll kind of refine the body a bit. I'm gonna thin this out just a bit more, and again, it's just going to be me going through it like this and doing that. So I won't make you sit through that. But once I get that thinned out good enough, I'll be right back. Okay, kind of see here I tapered it down just a bit, and I'm beginning to kind of just thinking about rounding over the little brim here. I might. I probably will spend some time just go through here and texture the hat a little bit. I like putting these little texturing cuts in my whittles. I just kind of slowly push the knife through. If you come to knots like this over here, you have to kind of work your way through them sometimes. The wool kind of goes in, like I said, in all different directions around these knots, and you may, you got to take your time and smooth the wood out around there as best you can. And if you reach wood that starts to tear out, turn the piece over, turn the piece around, and come at it in the opposite direction. Like you see here, I'm going in, it's beginning to tear out, so we don't want to keep going in that direction. I'm going to come back here and just go over it. And as you get to the more refined cuts, take smaller cuts. That's all. What I do is I'm gonna round out the top, so I'm gonna kind of come in here and start cutting this up just a bit. I kind of like to do this towards the end because it can get a little fragile on the top, and I don't really know how well this would hold up, but I start to just create a little round over here. You can kind of see it's kind of hooking over like so. That's all. Just kind of come in here, work your way, undercutting this area in here just a bit. And you can make it, you can make it pointy if you want to. You don't have to even put this in. I like, just little, you can't put a lot of detail in these kind of whittles to begin with. So anything you can do to just make them more whimsical is great. These little Tomte gnomes are fun little whittles to do. Legend has it people use them they were domestic gnomes, I believe is what they referred to. They'd help out around the place. They'd sleep most of the summer and spring and fall, I guess, and start appearing around the winter solstice. And they would, it would help out, but I guess they could be mischievous too. Like any these kind of fantasy creatures, and they're just fun. They're just these type of whittles are always fun to do. So you can kind of see how we have his hat hooking around. I'm gonna have to hold it like that to keep it kind of all in frame here. And I'm just what I do here on the body is the same thing. And I say body, but it's really just hair. And I'm just going to kind of come through here and start just making it look a little more like hair. We could give the indication that there's a mustache if you want to. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. I'm going to kind of put a knife right under the nose, right kind of in the middle over here. I'm going to put my knife in and just deepen it a little bit, and then kind of come down. We're just going to make it look like there's some type of mustache area over there, I guess. I don't know that you have to do that, and there's no rule. You don't have to do anything really. You can do whatever you want with these kind of whittles. Maybe we'll carry it down from the nose a bit too. A little bit, just a few lines here to make it look like there's some separation. again, I can't stress enough. I've had a lot of people comment over the years and say, oh, I wish I could whittle like that. And you absolutely can whittle like this. You can see my whittles are not fancy by any stretch of the imagination. I'm pretty. I've been doing it a long time, but I'm still fairly average. There's some people who do really incredibly detailed stuff, and it looks great. I just don't work in that capacity. Maybe at one time I did more like that to some extent, but I like doing just fun little things like this. Wood spirits and little gnomes and little critters and stuff like that. That's what I like. I like having fun. I just want to. It's a nice, relaxing, and enjoyable hobby. And if you're looking for that, then go find yourself a knife and grab some wood. You don't have to watch a lot of videos. Just try things out. It's not all that hard to do. You can kind of see. I'm just playing around here, making it up as I go, and you do the same thing. So the more you do it, the more fun you have, and the more natural it becomes to do like anything, And don't compare yourself to other people. You can kind of see I've just kind of created a little bit of extra detail in here, and I'll just kind of go through here and probably add a little bit more detail. But you could see, how hard was that to do? It's pretty simple. What I like to do is start to round over the bottom, both ends of the hat, and add a little bit of texturing in here. So I kind of come through here, because it's supposed to be like fur, I guess. I might switch to a smaller knife just to get in there a little bit more. And I think I need to hone this one up anyway. So let me do that and see if that works, and I'll be right back. Okay, I switched over to this smaller 3/4 inch North Bay Forge knife. I'm just kind of going in here, and I'm just going to add a little texture and cuts to the surface here. And this is the part where you take it to whatever level you want. Like I say in all my people who watch my videos probably getting tired of me saying it, but take your whittles to, don't necessarily mimic or do exactly what I do. You may not like doing it that way. You might want to for the hair, you might want to put more detail in there, and that's great. Do that, please. Try it out. I'm just going to do the same thing with the hair. I'm going to kind of just come in here and start to round it all over, put little texturing cuts in as I go. You're going to see. It's not all that difficult to do. You're sort of just blending it. I might throw a little bit of a stain on this one. When I say stain, I mean like an acrylic stain. It takes a little paint, and maybe I'll make his hat green, and maybe put a little red in its nose. You kind of see see how easy this is. It's kind of we're basically done here. I'm just going to clean it up a bit, and that's it. Just it's a little whittle here, just to give you some inspiration to try something out that you really can't mess up. If you want to give figure carving a try, but you're intimidated when you see lots of detailed figure carvings, and they have the well done, the faces and the eyes, and the hands and everything else. But you're interested in trying a figure, try something like this. As you can see, there's just it's a hat and a nose and some hair, and you don't even have to put this much detail in, and it's a fun. And I can guarantee you, people actually probably like these even better. So Or maybe not. maybe not the one I'm doing here, but I'm sure the ones you guys do. But that's all. Now you can kind of see. That's all. I won't. I'm not going to sit here and drag out the video forever, because, like I said, I'm sure people have got the idea of what I'm doing here, and will give it a shot themselves if they're so inclined. I'm just going to kind of keep putting in my little detail here. The one thing I will do is kind of show you what I'm thinking about doing here. I want to sort of just round this a bit more, kind of bring it in here like it's kind of tucking under, I guess, you know. Just create a little notch in here. So I just want it to appear like it's kind of tucking over, or excuse me, tucking underneath here. So I'm just cutting out a little. It's kind of like a little V cut in here. Can you see that? And then I kind of come in here and I thin this out just a bit more. Like so. And just round it out. And you have to do the same thing on this side too. So that's all I'm doing. I hope you can kind of see that. Not all that difficult to do these whittles. Like I've been saying, I think anyone can do it. And now the fun part. You're just going to go through here and you start making all those nice little finishing cuts to clean everything up as much as possible. And if it's not perfectly smooth or rough, and if it's rough in a few spots, so be it. That's fine too. These are, like I said, they're supposed to be a bit rustic looking, you know. I'm just going to go through here, and what you could also do, I'm thinking of it here. I don't know that you need to do this on these figures, but let's open this up a little bit more in here. Like maybe it looked like a mouth a bit. So I'm kind of sticking my knife here, and I've done plenty of whittles like this, so you know what I'm doing here. If you watched them, I'm just deepening this just a bit to make it kind of look like there's maybe a mouth in there. Kind of see how that deepened it a bit more. And then I usually come down in here and make a cut right there. Like so. And I flip it around and I do the same thing on this side. I come over here and I try to get it as even as possible. And I cut up there. So I create this little tiny triangle. And it kind of looks like he's sticking his tongue out at you, right? Which, yeah, maybe that's not a bad idea either. But we get that little triangle. And then you come back and you just nip off the bottom of that triangle. It kind of looks like it'll look like a lip. You know, you might have to deepen that a little bit more as well. It kind of, I think it's useful to do this if you're painting it, because it'll break up, you know, whatever color the hair is. Let's say you want to paint the hair white. You can put a little bit of like a pinkish color in here to mimic the lip, and it'll just add a little bit of break in the color. And that looks good to me. Again, you don't have to. You can kind of see here. It looks like he maybe has a little mouth in there. And we just tuck the hair up around it. Kind of go through here and make these little texturing cuts. And it's going to require me to kind of go back in here and maybe clean it up a bit more. I want to deepen it a little bit. I'm going to flatten this out. You can kind of see over here. I'm going to flatten this out just a bit more. So I'm going to take my knife and kind of just try to flatten that because it's a lower lip. And, you know, he didn't know. I don't want him to have big poofy lips like some kind of supermodel. There you go. Something like so. Pretty silly, pretty fun. Rest I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna add a little bit. I'm gonna go around here and just add a little bit of texturing cuts, just like I'm doing here. That's really about it. So what I think I'm going to do is just finish that up, and once I get that all taken care of, and all, you know, these little cleanup type things, I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'll paint it up and show you that too as well. So let me get to that, and I'll give you just a look here of where we're at. And kind of see from this angle. I know it's difficult to get the whole thing in there, but there you go. So it's a little Tomte gnome. And I'm just going to clean everything up and I'll be right back. Okay, I think that about takes care of it. I think the whittling's all done. My little version of the Tomte gnome. They're a fun little whittle to do, and obviously you can see a real long hat. I'll give you a look that way because it fits in the camera. They're fun. They're fun little whittles to do, and you can imagine you can stick this, you know, under your Christmas tree or around your fireplace, or well, let me put it this way: if you don't like the way it came out, it can go in your fireplace. But yeah, they're fun little whittles to do. We did this in a piece of Frasier Fir. It was our Christmas tree from last year, part of the trunk of the Christmas tree from last year. So it was a fun little whittle to do. Grab yourself a piece of wood and a knife. We did probably, I'd say, you know, 90% of the whittle with this knife. And I just, you know, maybe just to get a little bit of texturing and detail, I might have taken the slightly smaller knife. But most of it can be done with one knife. And in fact, you know, I would say you could do the whole thing easily with one knife. So there you go. What I'm going to do is just kind of stain it up with a little paint, maybe a green hat, I think, and we'll give him a big white beard and all that kind of fun stuff, and maybe a little red around his nose. Yeah, you can see all the knots are showing through and all that, but that's okay. That makes it even more rustic and fun looking. But I'll get it painted up and I'll show you what it looks like on the. I'll spin it around and show you what it looks like. Alrighty, all. I hope you enjoyed that whittle. Let me know in the comments what you think. And it's the winter solstice, so happy winter solstice to everyone. And if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas to everyone who celebrates. It's coming up in a few days, so enjoy your holidays. That's it for me this week. I'll talk to you all. Take care.